you a fighter, man? What made you want to do it?
Because he tried to mess with the one thing that means the most to me in life, being able to leave something behind for my grandchildren.
Let's play some music.
The Burial is a legal drama movie that premiered in October of 2023 on Prime Video. It has a runtime of 2 hours. It's somewhat based on the true story of lawyer Willie Gary representing his client of Jeremiah O'Keefe in a lawsuit against a major corporation. The story was documented in a 1999 article in New Yorker magazine. Now, this movie stars Jamie Foxx as the flamboyant lawyer Willie Gary, Tommy Lee Jones as a small town funeral director Jeremiah O'Keefe, and Ernie Smollett as attorney Mame Downs. So the story that we get from IMDb is inspired by true events. When a handshake deal goes sour, funeral home owner Jeremiah O'Keefe enlists charismatic, smooth-talking attorney Willie Gary to save his family business. Tempers flare and laughter ensues as the unlikely pair bond while exposing corporate corruption and racial injustice in its inspirational triumphant story. Now, when it comes to legal movies, I usually like dramas, things like A Few Good Men, Time to Kill, The Rainmaker. Those are the ones that I love. I love watching those types of things. Every now and again, I like a legal comedy like Legally Blonde or Liar Liar or something like that. But mostly, I like to stick to the drama aspect of legal movies. So I'm probably gonna say, because of the seriousness of the subject matter, things like that, I'm gonna lean to being more of the target audience in this particular film. And the reason why I want you to know that is you should always know the position, the perspective that your reviewer is coming from, so you can make a decision for yourself. I like to go and actually watch movies that are exclusive to the streaming platforms to see if they're worth your time. I watch so you don't have to. If you like how that sounds, do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe. Now, let's get to this review. Before I actually watch a movie, I do pretty much like you guys would. I would go and actually read the description a little bit, maybe even watch a trailer. So I do go and actually do those to kind of familiarize myself, to kind of give what are some expectations that I have before watching this movie. So in this one, I went ahead and actually some of the expectations I had before I started watching it. One, I'm expecting a good story and legal case. I have to go and actually care about the case and the repercussions that have for like a loss or a win on either side of it. So that's for me as a main target audience member. I'm involved in the case. I really like that. It has to mean something, and so I expect that first and foremost. Second is the courtroom drama, all the shenanigans, things that the objections and exhibits and all that kind of good stuff on there. Showing the ebb and flow of like wins and losses in the courtroom and things like that. That's exciting to a main target audience member. We like the craziness that goes on into courtrooms on there, and just I love that. So that's got to be an expectation. Number three, got to have likable characters. Hopefully, that they make them likable, that they make them personable, that you really like them overall, so that you can empathize with them as they go through this journey of going through the legal process or whatever. So I have an expectation of that. The last thing that I kind of have is I'm figuring by the trailer, it looks like Jamie Foxx's character is going to carry like some comedy into this. And I don't know if that's going to carry throughout, but it seems like he's kind of very much over the top type of character. So I'm kind of expecting some light tenure moments and all that kind of stuff. But that's what I go ahead and actually expect. So let's carry that into the movie and see what we come out with. So I have now watched the movie, and after watching this film, I'm getting kind of like a mashup of The Rainmaker, A Time to Kill, and Jerry Maguire. Those are the three movies that I think have some DNA interwoven between this particular film or what have you. So those are the kind of mashups that I'm thinking about. So if you're a fan of one of those types of films, I think you're gonna go ahead and actually enjoy this film in this manner. First act of this movie is set up well. Willie Garrett Willie Gary's character is shown to kind of be a he's doing well in life. He's got money. He's a showman. He's really boisterous. He's a litigator on a different level. He does not lose cases, and being that on there, he is kind of like the antithesis of Jeremiah's character, who is more like a simple dude, kind of down to earth, what have you, very principled, and he's an older guy, and he's just trying to live out the last years of his life or what have you, and leave a legacy to his family. And we're set up with the obvious thing that they're of two different worlds, even though that they both seem to be pretty good guys, what have you, just totally different personalities. And how and why they come together, it makes sense. It's pretty organic because of what comes through as far as the lawsuit. In the second act, it's really obviously about the case of building the case, the investigation, and how we kind of get into the litigation and things like that. As the usual legal dramas are, there's like wins and losses in the courtroom. It totally makes sense. Um, Now, some of the tactics and some of the things that happen in the courtroom don't make a whole lot of sense. Um, and that's kind of, again, I'm not a lawyer, but just watching a lot of film and movies and things like that, you can kind of get a feel for what's actually real and what's not. There's just a lot of shenanigans that are going on here that are probably not based in accuracy, but it does open up the exploration of the characters' willingness to kind of stay to their principles. And I like that in the second act. They really kind of stay with that and open up a lot more of the character development. Now, I will say some of that character development is a little bit sappy, but it's effective in the scenes, and we can kind of go with it. The third act does enough stuff to kind of button it up pretty effectively. I'm not a spoiler. I don't do spoiler reviews, but I will just say that I feel satisfied with the conclusion of everything in this particular movie, and I think the third act is well executed. So, like always, I go ahead and actually grade on three different things before I give you my verdict. First is storytelling, the concept of the story, pacing, sensibility, plausibility, that type of stuff. Then I kind of go into acting, individual and ensemble casting and how did it work? Did it work? Things like that. Dialogue. Uh, did they make me care about the characters and the acting in and of itself of what that brings to it? And then lastly, like intangibles, things like good action, good comedy, set designs. Did they make me kind of think of stuff outside of the movie and things like that? Just things that you can't really put your hand on. It's just more of like what you feel and all that kind of good stuff. So that's where I kind of go with my grading. So first and foremost, the story in the burial, the concept is obviously plausible as it's based on a real court case. You could tell some things in the court proceedings were dramatized for entertainment value, and there were some things in the middle of the film that felt not completely real or not even necessary, but they were trying to do it to go ahead and actually do entertainment. Um, again, I don't know if they were real or not because I didn't read the article in the New Yorker or anything like that, but um, I just feel like it kind of went hallmarky for like about a 15-20 minute period in the movie where we're just like, okay, um, it's diving into the realm of like being a very generic type of feel good movie, and that kind of got to me a little bit. But overall, there's just aspect of it that you're like, okay, the story is working out okay. Now, there's also a scene with Willie's legal team that seemed unlikely because I didn't feel like that was genuine. Uh, but I don't know that to be a factor. Um, it just seemed like yeah, I couldn't see uh, his team doing that to him or what have you and stuff like that. But I don't know. But overall, I like the story that was being told, even if it was a bit connived. So you may feel like, oh, I was being negative on it. No, I like the story in and of itself. It's just that some of it was a little bit over the top. But overall, you may feel for the story. You like the way that it was being executed. I give it a B. Okay. For acting, this story all hinges on Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones, making you feel like these two different men from different worlds actually like working with each other, and they did that effectively. I thought that I'd probably get tired of Fox's kind of representation of Willie Gary in there, that it would be just like too much or whatever. But we get enough insight into him to not be sick of his character, meaning that we kind of understand where it comes from and why he is the way he is. And Jones, conversely, he was very good as the likable older man who just stood on business. Like he was just like, look, this is what it is. I'm not no frills or anything like that, but I got principles and I'm going with it. And those two characters meshed. I also give a special shout out to Alan Ruck's character of Mike Aldred. I think that was well done. I think that's a difficult character to kind of play or whatever, and I like that. The rest of the cast was good, and I like the casting overall. I think they all blended very well together. I think it was well casted. The dialogue was pretty good. Some over the top stuff here and there, but it was mostly fun. So acting, I'm gonna go ahead and actually give it a B plus. Um, so some of the intangibles for this, it definitely hit my first expectation of a good story and legal case. I understood it and I was vested into it. I really liked the case. Two, the courtroom stuff was hit or miss with me. They nailed like some top witness examinations and testimony, and that was intriguing. But some of the legal proceedings and processes were kind of like all over the place. I'm pretty sure that most of it was done there for being entertainment rather than practical, and that kind of left the taste of like, oh, okay, we're we're going there just to kind of make it entertaining. So, was what it was. They definitely had likable characters, especially the main two actors, and I think that they worked well together. So, they hit that expectation spot on. This wasn't as much of comedy as the trailers kind of made him out to be. He was definitely spirited and humorous, but not comical. And I think that's important to point out on there is that he was actually a likable character that you could kind of get down with and empathize with, and I like that. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and actually say the movie was kind of like a moderate rewatchable, meaning that you're not going to play it like, watch it over like 50 times or anything like that. But I think it does have a moderate rewatch value that you'd be okay with asking somebody, "Oh, have you seen this movie?" And you'd be fine to go and actually watch it with them and pick out some different things on there. But for intangibles, I'm giving it a B. And now let me get into my verdict. So if you've never watched my channel before, I go ahead and actually kind of grade movies off of four different categories. It is levels of watch as soon as possible, meaning that A, put this controller down, go watch that movie right away. It's really that good. Two is add it to your much watch playlist, meaning that you don't have to watch it right away, but definitely add it to your playlist that you're gonna watch this movie at some point in time because it's pretty good and you will not be wasting your time. The third one is kind of like add to like your lazy day playlist, meaning like that playlist that you just kind of like, I kind of push it back to when there's nothing else on. I don't have really something important that I want to watch, and turn it on to that and see if it might actually be worth your time to go and actually push it back on your playlist. And then obviously the last category is skip it, meaning like, hey, movie's not worth your time, don't even worry about it. So those kind of like the four categories that I have for my verdicts. So getting into my verdict for The Burial, for people that are main target audience members, meaning that you are a fan of legal dramas, comedies, or you're a fan of Jamie Foxx or Tommy Lee Jones, I'm gonna say it's an add to your must-watch playlist. Both of the characters are likable in this, they're fun, and they give good performances. It's strongest when they're both in the room together, and the courtroom antics are fun, even if they're not based in reality all the time. But there's a feel good story here that's great to observe, and I think main target audience members will really like this one. For casuals that you're not into all this, you're just a casual viewer, what have you, I'm going to go ahead and actually say put it on your lazy playlist. The movie is done well enough that anyone can follow along and be entertained. There's a bit of vulgar language that doesn't make it a family watch, but anyone over the age of 12 will go and actually be fine on this one. It has a good story and it's based in crossing racial lines and uh, economical lines as well. And that makes it a good lesson for anybody to watch, along with some good comedy, some decent drama, something that you can get behind. So again, for main target audience members, go ahead and actually add it to your must watch playlist. For casuals, put it on your lazy day playlist. And that's what I have for The Burial, now showing on Prime Video. Check it out.
Hey, What's my...
We can't split the pole. Can't split the pole. Now, come on, Doc.
You stay for the entire review. I appreciate you. Do me a favor. If you really like this review, click like. If you really, really like it and you want to hear more of my reviews, click subscribe. And you can probably watch one of these other videos, comment down below, all that kind of good stuff. But until next time, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.